Energies, lovelies, bodies of light, the seekers and sojourners of truth, the 144, chosen of the chosen few, and you know who you are. I greet you in the love that lights the truth from my heart to yours. I am Celestial Earth in this divine energy essence of it all, reporting to you live from nowhere other than 5D, the fifth dimension and the place to be. Right? So, those of you who are quantum leaping, timeline leaping, shifting timelines as the timelines are collapsing, welcome into 5D. There has to be some collapsing, right? Purging and all of that, entering into 5D, because there is major soul work for us to do. So, welcome into the fifth dimension. Look around, get a feel, continue to unfold, because it's not a location, right? It's not a location or a final destination, right? It is the soul's destiny. It is our earth, planet, soul's destiny. The earth itself is in 5D. Ready or not, here I come, as I keep saying. That's what the energies are saying. So whether you into it or not, 5D is what's happening. And it's a matter if we're going to align with the 5D frequencies, right? So as usual, I come to bring you the news to infuse, if you so choose to infuse with that light, that energy, right? And if not, then you refuse. If you don't infuse, you refuse. And then you will get fried on the grid, right? And the light grid activation is happening. The light grid has been sealed. The energetic seal has taken place since 2022 for those who missed it. You know, the 5D independence, for those who know of it, it's aligned in the stars. 2/22/2022, right? That's when the great return happened. And for those who know the pioneers of 5D, there was a major cosmic shift and expansion. 5D is already here, and the pioneers are already doing what they do. Ones like myself, and we continue to help usher in more souls that are in their soul ascension, that are in their timeline shifting. You're shifting timelines. You're not where you used to be anymore, right? So we're gonna go into that. With that said, happy sun rising. Yesterday, the big day, the big cover-up day that everybody has as Christmas, which is really Christ Mas, meaning more. Christ more, super conscious more into your higher self is what this experience is about. So on the day that everyone chooses to glorify is when I call the sun rising day. So after the sun has died on the 21st, on the solstice, I'm going to say on the solstice, when the sun is said to have died, right, and be still in its stillborn stillness for 3 days and rises on the third day. That is the sunship. That is the raw sunlight and the sunship, meaning in our Christness, in our Christhood, Christ in his kingly character, right? This is us in our risen light. And that's what that Christ Mas is really about. So I want to expound on that as I spoke about it in the previous video. I went into some details about the respiriting, and that's what that respiriting process is and how that experience leads into the sun rising, which was yesterday, which is what they call, right? It's really risen on the third day, but I call it the sun rising because we have to turn around those stories that they give us. And there's a collective energy, a major collective energy that is always happening on that day, that has the whole world in a frenzy and gone array and astray and thrown off guard, right? So we get caught up in the cover-up story that's covering up our true soul's destiny. And it's time for us to wake up out of that matrix and find the divine matrix that guides us into our evolved aspects of our soul. So respiriting is an opportunity every time, every year. It's our annual, I'm going to start to call it the annual recertification, right? It's our annual recertification to certify our soul on the next level. And to do that, when the sun dies, we have to understand that this sun in our soul's consciousness represents the conscious phase of mind, aka the masculine energy, the will to do, right? Not gender masculine, I'm talking about the creative energy, the creative activity energy, right? And that's what that sun represents. The moon represents our subconscious mind. That is the feminine energy. So the moon rules the night. So that darkness that we're having is about us tapping into the receptive, the feminine receptive energy. And this is the experience that we're having while we're re-spiriting for those 3 days to come into the sunrise. So the sunrise, yesterday when people come and they say anything, Mary, I say yes, happy re-spiriting or happy sun rising. And I'm speaking to your soul when I say that. I'm speaking to your conscious phase of mind faithfully. If you are able to go within and become receptive, then you come into the risen light. Your sun rises. So as the sun cosmically in the cosmos, as the sun begins to move forward, on the third day it rises, meaning it's moving again, right? And remember, as I said before, nothing is ever really still. It's all perspective. It's just because in our perspective it appears to be still because it's very, very slow. It's at a standstill, so to speak. So on the third day it continues to move. It continues in its ascension. In the solar process, there is an ascension and there's an ascent and a descent, right? So from now we're on the ascension, going forward going towards the summer solstice. After the summer solstice, we are on a descent, right? We're coming back down. So that's just the solar cycle, for those who understand it. And so at every solstice there is a standstill, right? But one is a standstill in the darkness and one is a standstill in more of the light. So the winter is the standstill in the darkness, the time where we are to be more receptive and to tune into our feminine energies. And it is also a time that around this time, we are in a position where we are connected to the galactic center, right? This is, Sagittarius has its bow pointing in a certain way where it's like pointing towards the truth or the galactic center, right? Mama Universe. So it's also connected to that. Like we're getting direct, it's an opportunity to get these codes that are coming in from the galactic center, right? So it's a time for us to be more in tuned and attuned to the frequencies and the energies of what's really happening so that we can elevate in our soul, right? To let our soul glow and grow, right? So with that, I'm inviting us to this understanding because like I said, this is the third year that I have practiced this respiriting and this sun rising. And coming out of it, we have all kind of help because coming out of it, we come into Kwanzaa. And Kwanzaa, this is not a black thing, although it is to empower the black community. But this is not just a black thing. It's principles. So I'm speaking even to my melanated people. Don't look at Kwanzaa as a black holiday. It's not to be placed as a holiday in the first place, right? It is a principle. It is a set of principles. The 7 days of Kwanzaa are 7 principles, 7 principalities. And it's good to follow that right out of the sun rising, right? The day after the sun rising, boom, today, we go right into what? Unity, Umoja. And then we go into self-determination. All of these are principles for where we want to go. So as we're in our ascent, as we're in our sun risen, as we're in our wise ego, we ask ourselves, where do we want to go? And it's wise if we follow the guideline or the guidelines of these principalities. Let it guide you into the direction of what is best for you, right? And this is coming out of the sun rising, aka the Christmas, right? I can't call it Christmas for me. It's Christmas in the understanding that it is the Christ more, in the overstanding, understanding that it is us arising, awakening into our superconscious. If you want to know how to tap into your superconscious, this is one of those ways, right? One of the ways is if you have a balance and a harmony in your conscious and your subconscious mind. Your entire soul is comprised of the superconscious, the conscious, and the subconscious, right? And the superconscious is our spiritual blueprint. It is our spiritual identity. It is the image and likeness of the divine that it speaks of in that book that says you're made in the image and likeness. How? through your spirit, through your Christ ordained niti, through your Christ consciousness, aka your super consciousness, right? This is your divinity within your now existence, within your infinite, right? You are an infinite being, and within your finite existence, this is your ID. Your super conscious keeps you constantly connected. The problem is a lot of us are disconnected because we are too connected to the realms of this world, in the sea, lost in the sea of forgottenness, right? So we forget who we are. And in order to get to that super consciousness, it is to have a harmony between the subconscious, aka your intuition, aka your feminine energy, and your conscious phase of mind, aka your masculine energy, right? And your will to do, your thinking. It's the thinking and the feeling. It's the logic and the reasoning, right? It's the heart and the brain coherency. This is the coherency that I'm talking about. This heart and brain coherency is also the conscious and subconscious coherency in the mind. And when you have that coherency and that balance, what you're doing is you're allowing the intuition that flows from the subconscious mind, right, to bring it to the light of the conscious mind, which is where it's our executive branch. It is where we do things. Throughout everything we do is through our conscious phase of mind. That's why they say, are you conscious? Right? When the subconscious is the feelings, it is the unseen, it is the emotions, the energy in motion that brings the instructions that we need. That's why the feminine energy is that important, aka the receptive activity. I have to say that because I know that when I say feminine and masculine, people automatically go to gender. It has nothing to do with gender. We only give it that definition because of our human understanding of creative and receptive activity. This is the plus and the minus. This is the negative and the positive charge, right? This is why they say the plus is the masculine energy and the minus is the feminine energy, or the negative and the positive. Not negative meaning bad, but negative meaning receptive. It is receptive. You can't do anything without a negative and positive charge. Your car will not move with only a positive charge. Because why? The negative has to be there to receive something, in order to give, right? The plus gives the energy and gives the charge, but the negative takes in and translates it to the positive, right? So there has to be the feminine energy. Everything comes out of the receptive energy. This earth is a creative, it's a manifestation, and anything that's manifested is created, right? But that creation comes out of receptive nature. It comes out of the universe, which the universe is constantly giving information. It's the receptivity of the universe that allows us to exist in the earth creatively. Let me say that again. It is the receptivity of the universe that allows us to exist on the earth creatively, in a creative expression, right? So these are the things that we must understand when we're having the balance and the harmony between the negative and the positive, the feminine and the masculine, the creative and the receptive. We must understand that. That's the harmony in our soul's charge that allows us to tap into the superconscious, right? So when there's a harmony between the feeling and the thinking, between the will and the understanding, right? Then we ignite. We light the fire and the flame. We ignite the fuse to tap into our superconscious, aka your Christ consciousness. That is the Christ in you. That is the Christ of you. This is what a lot of us are missing the mark about, right? And I'm not here to make anybody feel bad about their holidays, but at some point we do have to extend our consciousness, and step out of those holes of the holidays. Those holidays are holes. HOLD is in the word holiday. It's holding you to a certain prescription of what they prescribe and what they transcribe. We have to be transcribers of our own soul's destiny. And this is what the soul sovereignty is about, right? So I say this to bring a seriousness. You know, I've been very serious lately because these energies, it's an opportunity that we just wouldn't want to miss. I'm speaking to my light bodies. I'm speaking to the chosen of the chosen few that are still being sifted out right now. And I mean no harm when I say this, and I cast no judgment, but we cannot be in a risen state and still celebrating their cover-up story, because that covers up the truth of your soul's destiny. It covers up you being able to take full advantage of expanding your soul into your spiritual, inclination, your spiritual design, into you tapping into your Christ consciousness. This is the birth of Christ. That they talk about the birth of Christ, but they don't teach you about the birth of Christ in you, because it is a rebirth. It's not just a birth, it is a rebirth, because it's a death before a rebirth. That's why the sun dies on solstice, right? And allows you to put yourself down, right? Put down all of the folly. Get a true introspection of yourself in the receptivity of the darkness, and gain your wisdom. This is why the three wise men came with gifts, wisdom. The three wise men that met up at your crown, wisdom. So you're supposed to come with wisdom out of this respiriting, and this wisdom through the experiences that you come through, right? And when you get that, it's to give you the opportunity to be reborn, rebirth, rebreathing life into you, into your very essence of who you are. Happy sun rising. Your sun, aka your soul, the solstice, your sun is now risen. The sun that represents your conscious phase of mind, your ego. Remember, it's not to get rid of the ego. We want to humbleize it. This is one of the ways to humbleize your ego. When you have a true respiriting during this time, cosmically, we are aligning with the stars. We are aligning with the galactic center. We are aligning with Mama Universe. We are aligning with Source, so that we can resource the energy, the light, and the information that is needed to speak to our very selves, to activate our DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid, God, Lord, fire in the center of my being, to speak to the script, the word that is within your soul. In the beginning was the word. That's the word. And the anointing is that Christ consciousness. So it is that Christ consciousness that brings to light your risen light. It's every year we get an annual recertification to certify ourselves onto our Christ consciousness, to be certified in your super conscious awakening to the truth. Don't let it pass you with the cover-up story. So I'm speaking to those light bodies that are awakening, that don't be fooled either. Listen to people even when they speak. Right now, as leaders or as people that are leading you, I'm speaking even for me. You can't be leading me if Christmas is still your center story, if it's still your centerpiece. Hear even what I'm saying there. If it's your centerpiece, meaning peace be still, meaning peace within the soul, the center of your peace. It cannot be the center of your peace, right? If it is not true story. Yes, I know you see it. Peace, love, and light. If Christ Mas is not your center of peace, then you are missing the mark. I have to honestly say that. No judge, no shot, no shame, no nothing. But I have to highlight this truth. If you are still making Christmas your centerpiece, then you are missing the mark. And you're continuing to sow seeds in a cover story that is continuing to keep you away from your true Christmas, your Christ more, your Christ consciousness awakening and tapping into your super conscious mind. This is definitely one of the ways, and the season, everything is timing and divine timing. If you know how to plug in at the right divine time, you will get such a download. Let your centerpiece, let your piece of center be you being intentional and purposeful about this time of year, and not because it's a happy holiday season and everybody want to go in and get drunk and buy presents and do all of this, but it's because you know the truth of your soul unfolding journey, and this is an opportunity to tap into your soul. It is an opportunity for you to expand your consciousness in the glowing of this soul glow. Get your soul glow up, right? Let me see if I can see. Let the milk and honey, yes, rise to the pineal gland. Thank you. Let that elixir, I think that's what they call it. Let that elixir that's sitting in the base coiled up, right? Sitting there stored in your sacral at times. Let that elixir come up. Let you get a kundalini rising up to your risen wisdom. That's why that snake is on the top in ancient times, because that snake on the top, on the crown, represents wisdom. It represents when you have brought your sense consciousness risen to the top, and that is in your wisdom. When the snakes are on their bellies on the ground, that is when our sensations are just rolling around in the earth, right? And you want to take the serpent, which represents the sensations, the feelings, the information that we get from the feelings, to rise up through each and every energy center, which is a doorway in your consciousness. So you're unlocking the 7 seals within your own consciousness, unlocking your very soul codes and letting it rise to the top. So after this experience, you should be in your risen wisdom, right? More Christ more, yes. Christ more, me up, right? Christ Mas is a time for self-reflection, yes, towards greater corrections. I like that. For self-reflection towards greater corrections. And it's all about correction. See, this is why we can't be afraid of correction. We can't be, that's part of the, speak to me, spirit. The correction is the accountability. Thank you. It is a spirit of accountability. And that's what we're in the month of Set. For those of you who have the 5D calendar, we're in the month of Set, right? And some of us need to recognize we've been Set tripping. And Set is here to bring you the shadows that we need to hold ourselves accountable to. That's why we need the risen sunlight. As soon as we enter into Set, aka Capricorn season, we need to be in our wisdom and our risen light, because we need that Heru to be our hero of our soul and guide us through. See, these are not just stories, these are aspects of our soul. Heru, Asar, and Aset are aspects of your soul. Asar represents your conscious phase of mind, aka the masculine energy. Aset represents your subconscious phase of mind, aka the feminine energy. That's why she has to remember all the dismembered pieces, because Asar has been dismembered. Once Set gets in, and Set is when we have misappropriated thoughts and feelings, and then you let Set reign on your throne. And once Set dethrones Asar, it dismembers your conscious phase of mind, and now you're fragmented. You're in pieces, you've been dismembered. And that's what Set existence is there for, to represent the shadows that are there. So now you have to go and remember who you are, thanks to Aset, the feminine energy that houses the memories. Remember who you are, to bring that back into a true, to remember the pieces of Asar. And then it is in that activity of the remembering that she births Heru. Because why? That is the harmony. When we allow her to find the memory, find the pieces, and bring it back to the remembering, bring it back to Asar, it gives birth to Heru. And Heru is that Christ consciousness. Heru is the super conscious. So this is why it says no one enters the kingdom but through me, because you can't come into the kingdom until you enter into the Christ consciousness aspect of you. So that is your Heru. And only Heru can dethrone Set. You in and of yourself cannot do it because you're going to falter every time. But through the balance of the masculine and feminine, through the balance of the conscious and subconscious, through the balance of Asar and Aset, here comes Heru, the hero, the Christ consciousness that can overthrow Set, which means all it means is you no longer need Set to bring those shadows forward. It dissolves everything that Set has come from. Set comes up because of our shadows that we haven't dealt with. So when we hold ourselves accountable and we do this like a gladiator when we are aligned with our Heru. So when we have that harmony, when we give to the feminine energy, when we allow our Set in our reflective state to be receptive and allow her to remember who we are in our reflections and our corrections, then we are returned onto our destined coordinates. We are returned into our Heru and our Christ consciousness. And that is what dissolves all the shadows that come with Set while we're in Set. So utilize this while the sun is in Set. The sun is in Capricorn for the next 30 days. The sun is in Set. So this is your opportunity to look at all those shadows, hold yourself accountable and responsible with the hero's touch, with the Heru touch, which means you need that harmony and that balance. Right? Ashe. And that's what's going to get you through. And once you get through that, the next season is when the sun is going to enter into the principalities of Aquarius, aka Anubis. And we'll be transitioning. We'll be in the middle of our transitioning phase right here. Because remember, we're in the respiriting season for these 3 months. These 3 months are a transitioning stage and a threshold into the new year that begins in spring. And so in the middle of that, Anubis next month is the actual transitioning. And we'll talk about that some more when I get to that. But I want us to really give homage, give true respect to the sunrise, to the Ra rising of yesterday is what that was on the 25th, right? If you're looking at our calendar, it's the 5th day of Set or the 5th day of Capricorn, right? And then today on the 6th day begins the principles of Kwanzaa. Let those principles, if you look into it, guide you into your next steps and stages, right? And so with that, I say this so that we honor. If you didn't do it this year, like I said, you still got these 3 months to respirit, and you can do it again next year. You know, and I will put out a video earlier next year just to prepare those who may want to be a part of it. Maybe I'll do a workshop with it. But really and truly, I don't like to do a workshop because that's a time that I too need to go in and be still. Right? So I may do something ahead of time where I can give information about it. But on those 3 days, it's really, I truly like to honor that stillness of being still for 3 days and coming up. Now we're in the risen sun. And so I want to say this again, be mindful of those who we're following, those spiritual people who put everything around Christmas, right? No shade, but there's something that you're missing. Even if you claim to be about 5D, there's something that you're missing if you're still putting Christmas first, the cover-up story, and putting that first instead of Christ Mas, Christ more, right? Instead of making the centerpiece you entering into your Christ consciousness, right? That should be the focus that we're focusing on, not having a holiday experience to go drink, to go even be with family. People call it all type. Oh, it's the time to be with family. You could be you can be with family on any day you choose. You can choose your family days. We do not need permission from these holidays, right? It's like people need to be pushed into a family setting by holidays. That means you don't have the self-discipline to do it yourself. You need a holiday to guide you, to cattle herd you in to your family. And then you're not even going to do real family work. You're not going to debunk the dysfunctions in the family. You're going to double down in the family's buffoonery, right? Again, no shot, no shade. Simply bringing light. Excuse the passing noise, but simply bringing light to truthfully bringing light to something that is happening every year, honestly. We come together and no one comes and brings, and this is why sometimes these get-togethers do bring about family dysfunctions, but people usually miss the mark and they blame the person that's acting up instead of looking at it as an opportunity that this family member is bringing light to a situation that we all need to look at and we all need to stop ignoring. But no one wants to do that soul work, especially the 3D shadows, especially the reptilians and the archons and those in the dark matter energy that do not want to unfold. This is why they say everybody can't go. And for that, those of us who are in higher aspects, we have to hold responsibility to not place yourself in these low vibrational settings. I don't care even if it's family. Do not place yourself in low vibrational settings. Ashe? Right? So, and I don't center it around Christmas. That is not important to me. So watch for people who do that, because it tells you where they really are spiritually. If you're making that your centerpiece, then spiritually you got a little bit more work to do. I'm just saying, you cannot straddle the fence, because that is a cover-up story. And if we're not practicing the truth, then what are we doing? Right? So I can only bring the truth the way I practice it. Right? And I will share with you before I go a true story. What I got out of it is, for me, in going in, realizing, and this may be helpful for some of you who are amplified in your light work, like myself, we cannot help others in a certain light. Right? Let me allow that distraction to go by. We cannot help others in the light that you carry, because it is not only that it's harmful for you, it's harmful for them. This is the responsibility I had to realize. And yes, it may hurt, especially if you're a helper. It may hurt to say no. It may hurt, especially if it seems like it's something that it's doable. And I'm saying this very sternly. Even if you feel like it's doable, like, oh, I can do that, still stop and think twice. Do not do it based on these I'm going to ask you to ask yourself these 3 things. All right? Make sure you ask yourself, do you know yourself? Know thyself. Make sure you know who you are, and make sure you know who they are. Know what comes with them. And then the third and important one is ask yourself, do they have any resistance towards you? And you'll know what that is energetically. I'm not talking about what they say or even what they do, but watch what they do too, because that's the energy that comes from them. But I'm speaking about their energy. You will know when people are resisting you energetically. I'm speaking to my chosen ones especially, who know energy. You can feel it. Family members, friends, anybody. You can feel when there's a resistance, even with a smile, even when they're being polite. And they don't know. They don't know themselves that they have resistance. They think they love you and they think they like you. And at a surface level they do. But energetically, at a deeper level, they despise you. They despise your light, especially if you've amplified in your light. They will never tell you that, but they despise your light, and your very amplified light annoys them, because you got to remember, we're in each other's auric field. We're in the age of the Aquarian age, the age of the knowing. The information is everywhere, whether you say it or not. So they're giving off something in their energy, and you're giving off something, and your light annoys them in their darkness, in the darkest places that they haven't looked at yet, that they're not aware of. You annoy them, and you agitate their demons that tell lies in the dark. You agitate their unhealed wounds that they are unaware of, right? I'm not saying this to say be mean to them. I'm saying this to know yourself and know them, and know that if there is any resistance, do not do anything for them. It will cause greater harm to you. You can't even give them $5 for gas, for food. You can't give to them. They cannot receive from you, because their resistance shows a closed fist. And so energetically, it's like you're imposing your energy on them. Even if they ask for the help, you have to say no. I'm speaking to those who have amplified energy, and you're aware of those who have a resistance towards you. You cannot extend your help towards them. The energies will show you. Look at it and see what I'm saying. If anybody here in the comments knows, please go ahead and comment. You know what I'm saying. because I'm sure you would have experienced it. You can try to give them something and it's going to backfire. It's going to drain you. It's going to take from you. You're going to lose a lot more trying to help them, and they are going to lose as well. And they are going to become agitated, and things are going to befall them that they're not going to understand why. But it is because you come with a certain light that exposes that darkness, which means now they have to deal with that darkness. They have to deal with that shadow as long as you are helping them. You can't help everybody because your light exposes the things that they're not ready to deal with. It's safer for you and it's safer for them to leave well enough alone. Trust what I'm saying, right? Accept who you are, accept who they are, and accept that they have a certain resistance that you will not be able to give to them unless there are certain consequences and repercussions. Believe me, you will feel them, right? Take it from me. This is my experience, my lesson, what I got. And on the sun rising day, it unfolded to me, and spirit will show you. It brought something up to me because those of you who know what I've been through here, know the attack and the spiritual attack that I've been under. And the spirit was showing me that even though you're trying to help them fix a bathroom in their house, in their consciousness, they're not ready to do that. They're not ready to deal with the waste of their soul, because that's what the bathroom represents. So you're imposing by even helping. And I had to learn that the hard way by having money stolen from me and everything. This whole trip got turned upside down and trying to turn me off of the destination that the ancestors are guiding. But that will not be stopped. We will still have our retreat. However, I say all that to say this. The lesson that I got out of it was that, come full circle, after the sun rising, I had a family member ask me, can they borrow my vehicle, which your vehicle is your mode of transportation. And I'm not there, so yes, it would seem like an easy yes, but spirit was like, you wasn't sitting in this 3 days of darkness and stillness for nothing. What was your lesson? What did you get out of this? Where's your true accountability for the part that you played and how you show up? And it was reminding me strictly, you cannot give to everybody, even if it seems doable and it seems okay, it seems like it won't hurt anybody until someone gets hurt. Do not give to them. They may not understand why, but this is what I had to leave it as. Look, I just learned through a very certain experience that I can't give to you because of the level of resistance that I feel. And I know you don't mean me any harm, but I cannot partake in giving to you because that is going to clap back at me, and something may even happen to you. So let's keep it where we don't have to agitate those energies, right? This is a kickback that a lot of us are going to get, right? So let me see what I saw someone say. Hi, Tyrone. I was told indirectly, and I think that says synchronicity. I don't know if I'm seeing that right. Wise, that I was one of the ones that they had to keep safe. Yep, because of their light. Some would call it star child. What I got out of it anyways. Yes, you are. There are a lot of us that are being kept safe in certain ways because we're not only just because of the light, but because of being pioneering the new earth, the true earth. We are what they call the spiritual elite. So there are certain information that we're going to be privy to because we have to stay safe in order to be the pioneers and be the light, the amplified light that's helping everyone else light their candles as well. So that's something. Hi, John Noah. Peace, love, and light. I'm just now seeing you here. Welcome, welcome. Only Jesus can bring that light out of someone. Anything else, you're playing with spirit realm. Without I guess you're saying without safety. So when you say Jesus, right? Because I know some people like to throw that Jesus thing around, right? I don't ever throw I'm not throwing out the baby with the bathwater. I say Yeshua for one, because Jesus is the bastardized version that they wanted to give us. Okay, so but I'm not picky on names. I know the energy that I speak of. I speak in the Christ consciousness. I speak in the name of the Trinity of divinity that is within me. I speak in the name of Christ, right? The Christ, the anointed one, which is what Jesus became the Christ. That's why he said, and what I can do, you can do, and better and more, because you can become the Christ and more, in more light and in more ways. So it's not just in the name of Jesus. I don't do it in the religious way, right? And this is what I say to I won't even say contrast, right? To amplify what you're saying, I'm going to say, yes, you're saying exactly what I said, but maybe with a different tone and a different connotation. Because exactly what I'm saying about Heru and the Christ consciousness, that is the Jesus that they gave you, right? In that Jesus story, it is the Christ consciousness, the super consciousness in you. Only that Christ consciousness can bring the light out of anyone, of everyone. And that's why you can't do it without tapping into the Christ consciousness. That's why you have to have a harmony, a heart-brain coherency, a conscious and a subconscious coherency to be able to bring out the super conscious. So you have to give into that feminine energy, aka the receptive activity energy, to tap into that Christ consciousness. So that Jesus that you speak of, I don't do it in the literal way. I don't do it in the formal religious way, because that is an indoctrination that is used to throw you off of the truth. You will never get to tap into your Christ consciousness if you're looking for a Jesus outside of you. If you're looking for a Heru outside of you. So I will say yes to what you're saying in the sense of it is Heru. Only that super Christ consciousness can bring the light out of you. Right? So thank you for bringing that to light so we could shine the spotlight on that one. Right? Let me see. I am is saying, I know, and we can increase their energy having to pay. Yep. Attention to the resistance. Yes, exactly. You can increase their energy having to pay. So we have to pay attention, pay very close attention to the resistance. And there is a resistance. And it's done with a smile. Don't get it twisted. It is done with a smile. So know that the resistance is there and be mindful of that resistance so you can, I don't want to say fight it. It's not for us to fight a resistance, because anything you resist will persist. We're not here to fight the resistance, right? We're here to recognize the resistance. Know it so that you can know what not to do, right? We don't play with people and their resistance. We release them to their now. Let them have their resistance, but do not give into the resistance. That's the temptation. We want to help and we want to give to others that we feel needed, or that maybe in a certain situation. It's not for me to help. This is when Yeshua said, take up your bed and walk. You have become intimate with some things. That's what the bed represents, intimacy. You have become intimate with some things. Take up your bed and walk. You made your own bed. Walk with your cross. Bear your cross. And when you bear your cross, that's holding yourself accountable and responsible. And then you will be helped. And then the Christ consciousness in you will be risen, and you will attract more who are likened onto you to fall in alignment with you and continue your journey, this soul unfolding journey. But make no mistake, when you put yourself in a pit, you got to dig yourself out. And then others will fall into alignment. Right? So, Ashe, let me see what else to say. What if they keep giving to you? If they keep giving, see, that's another thing. Thank you for bringing that up. We have to know what to refuse. Do not take from everybody. Just like we can't give to everybody, we can't take from everybody either. Some people give me things and I politely decline. No, thank you. And I don't have to tell them why. They may not even understand it. I'm not even going to tell them, look, you got a lot of soot on your soul. Or look, you got a lot of resistance. I'm not even going to waste my time. Energy will let me know who I can speak to. Some people, I can tell them, look, you got some resistance. There's some people that you tell them and they will never get it. It'll be flying over their head every time. And they're going to want to debate. You're gonna instigate their ego to want to defend, instead of wanting to listen to the truth and have a correction within themselves, right? So if they give to you, politely decline. Do not take from people who are in those lower vibrations, and they may think they're helping you, right? And I've seen this happen. I've seen people in lower vibrations give me things like even fruit, and I have it, and for some reason I'm just not able to get to the fruit, and then the fruit spoils, and then spirit is like, you weren't supposed to eat from them. You weren't supposed to take that fruit from them, right? So when they give to you, if they're on a lower caliber of energy, lower vibrations, they can't give into your higher light, right? And I don't want to sound, it's not to say you can't take anything at all, but you really have to feel the energy. You have to feel what comes with that energy, right? If they're on a lower vibration, but they're ascending, right? You can take from them because they're in their ascension. They are ascending. They are doing the work. It's like when Christ said, those that do the work of my Father with me. They're doing the will. They're doing the divine will with you, so you can receive from them. But someone else who is in a heavy set of resistance, do not receive from them. Do not give to them, right? Because then they will drain you. Their energies will be used against you, and things will fall down upon them too. It's not just you. Think about them. If you can't think about you, think about them. Be honest with yourself and know what comes with your amplified light. I was going to say your amplification. Know what comes with your amplified light, and do not give knowing the dangers, knowing the potency of your light and what it may cause in giving to them. It's going to cause some disturbance for them. And if you truly love them, you don't want that for them. Ashe? So, I'm going to leave that there. Happy sun rising. Happy respiriting. Just to recap everything, I'm letting you know we came from the respiriting, the winter solstice when the sun dies, into the respiriting of the 3 days, being still, into our risen light, the sun rising day, right? And now moving forward with the 7 principles that Kwanzaa so beautifully gives us. So utilize that however it best fits you, however it best suits you, and pay attention to those who are celebrating Christmas versus those who are engaging in Christ Mas. Be a part of the spiritual engagement rather than the physical devolution, right? The disillusionment, okay? So with that said, love you all the spiritual people, doing the best you can, but we got to do better than that. We got to do better next year. Let's put away this cover-up story, all right? So with that said, peace, peace, love, all of that. Each one, reach one, teach one. If you don't know where to start, start in your big, beautiful heart. Shine your light from the inside out. Be the candle that lights the next one and the next one and the next one. Find the peace inside of the center of your soul. Let that Christ Mas be the centerpiece of your soul and your respiriting existence. Ashe! To infinity and beyond. Peace, love, and light.